Hey, honey.
Yeah, babe?
You really think we should start with this one?
It is one of the most acclaimed horror films to come out recently.
Alright, I'll go mull it over in the other room. Amiibo.
I'm spooky. I ain't stupid.
If it's in a comment or a book, you can't get rid of.
Hey, did you get that amiibo I left you? I got another one. Why do I smell burning plastic?
Garrett Snook.
Are you guys having married couple time again?
Wow, this is the first time I've said this in a long time. Hi, welcome to Monster Vlogs. I'm Charlie.
I'm Haley.
And we just saw, could you get it?
I can get it.
Could
Yeah.
you get it?
Yeah. I'm getting it.
We just saw this, the Babadook. Obviously, this is not a Universal monster movie from the 30s or 40s, or even 50s for that matter. It's from the glorious year of 2013.
It's our first really modern movie of the series.
I thought it was gonna be an easy ride, just be like, oh, the Babadook, it doesn't have any jump scares. It
It didn't have
doesn't
any jump
have
scares.
any jump scares.
Which-
This movie, so good with the jump scares and the fact that it has none. But let's just say it dealt with some subject matter that hit really, really close to home. Well, I think we should discuss what this plot is. We got the special edition, like, pop-up, because it's a pop-up book. Yeah.
So the plot is about this single mother just trying to get by with an odd, fearful child that always thinks there's monsters everywhere. And
Builds, like, custom weapons, like a like
Rube Goldberg contraption.
Yeah. And a dart gun, a literal dart gun.
And they find this book called The Babadook.
Mr. Babadook.
And it scares the
And-
child, and he won't stop talking about it, and it stresses the mom out a lot.
And the child starts seeing the Babadook,
Their
and the mother starts seeing the Babadook,
manifestations start getting worse and worse.
and she starts hallucinating roaches behind her refrigerator and on her dress. And needless to say, this all happens probably during the worst time in her life.
It's a one bad thing on top of another type of situation.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what the Babadook is.
Well, the Babadook, I mean, a lot of people, I heard
Obviously,
a lot of
spoiler territory.
people, I don't want to, honestly.
How can we talk about without being spoiler territory?
Alright, fine. Spoilers up the wazoo for this picture. Okay. So, the Babadook, a lot of people were going into it thinking it was this, like, the new monster movie of the decade. Like, yes, we finally have a new monster. This is the 2010s Candyman. This is the new Saw. This is the new this thing.
May I say, the monster element of the Babadook is amazing and incredibly well done.
He was so cool.
That was a well done monster.
Like, let's just get the monster aspect out of the way
Like,
first.
as a monster, it's amazing.
Oh boy.
And
Oh,
without,
man.
without jump scares.
I mean, not like bombastic jump scares,
Well, it's
but like
not the traditional
subtle
jump scares. It's just you cut to something that wasn't there before.
cut to something that wasn't there before.
It's like the scare in Phantom of the Opera with the back of his head in box 5.
Like, just for example, there's like a couple of really good like pseudo jump scares, like just basically like shadows moving across like the car windshield, or the main character looking across her neighbor's house and seeing the Babadook in the shadows behind her neighbor.
For a split second.
And just the simple motion of this. Shink.
Shink.
Oh boy!
Very effective.
Incredibly effective. But a lot of people were disappointed that they didn't get enough of the Babadook, but
Like, didn't
that
see it as a monster, but that's...
isn't
not...
what the Babadook is.
It's not
The
a monster.
Babadook is kind of like, dare I say, Godzilla. It's not what he is. It's what he represents. The Babadook, both movie and monster, are a metaphor for severe depression.
And not just depression, but failing to deal with grief and the depression that comes from it.
It is all 5 stages in one. And you can see this character go through that entire arc.
Because she starts out in denial.
Complete denial.
Severe denial.
Severe denial. She says, oh yeah, I've gotten over my husband's death. And
I don't mention him.
I don't mention him.
That's not getting over it.
Not getting over it. That's not moving past it.
That's stage 1.
That's bottling. You don't want to bottle. That's the last thing you want to do is bottle, lady.
This was not a disappointment to me. This was so not a disappointment to me. Like,
no.
Like, because the Babadook is not Freddy Krueger.
The Babadook is not Candyman. The Babadook is not a slasher villain. Like I said, it's
like,
what he represents.
The closest you can get is New Nightmare Freddy. But he is something even bigger and darker than that.
Yeah. And this is an incredibly adult movie, despite having almost like a childlike wonder about it.
There is a lot of, well, not metaphor, but symbolism that deliberately calls to children's stories and children's things. The whole thing is in a children's book. Like, it's deliberately childlike, but it's a very adult story.
Mm-hmm.
It's also very dreamlike, very surreal. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Like, I got more of a dreamlike sense in this movie than probably any of the other Universal monster movies. I mean, I'll have to go back and watch, like, some of them, but, I mean, this one literally puts you...
Like, the way they would show the passage of time.
That was incredible. That was well done. Like, I was just in awe of the editing, but weren't we talking about what the Babadook means?
Yes.
Thank you.
Definitely shows what happens to people who refuse to grieve.
Yeah.
And particularly the children of those people who don't really understand that. Like, because the kid, Sam never knew a world where life was normal.
Yeah, and
Like,
he gets pulled out of school because they find one of his weapons on him, and his mom goes, like, he already feels so different already. Why do you need to have him, like, assign him a monitor?
as I can totally, well, not directly relate to Sam, but directly relate to the idea of the kid that is coping in the only way he knows how. And he acts out because he just doesn't understand, like, this new paradigm, and having to be the parent who tries to understand the kid.
And the only thing that he can latch onto is, you know, fantastical, imaginary forces of evil.
Well, it's a very simplistic story. Good
Yeah.
versus evil, good always wins.
Right. You know, I'm gonna when that thing comes out, I'm gonna bash its head in. This is how I'm going to kill it. Needless to say, that all does play out. He does technically kind of defeat the Babadook.
Very good use of setup and payoff in first and third act.
Incredibly. Like, this movie didn't make me uncomfortable about, like, going back to that. It didn't make me uncomfortable. It just, like, I recognized everything that the mother was going through, because I know some people who kind of go through that, and even myself too, to an extent. And what really drove it home was, like, the very ending when little Sam said to his mom, "Can I see him?
Or am I ever going to
Am I ever going to see him?"
Because by the end, they've basically kept him as a pet.
Basically.
He eats earthworms.
He eats earthworms. The mom's answer drove it home when she said, "When you're older."
Like, you will someday when you're bigger.
And that's almost a line right out of a coming-of-age movie. Like, we know it's all about Amelia and the mom and her struggle with this anxiety and depression and just literally the universe coming down and hating her to the point where it manifests itself into a badass-looking monster. But in a way, you can kind of also see it as Sam's story.
It is very much a dual story.
And Sam's kind of coming of age, and, like, the only way that he knows how to act around everybody is the way that he's always acted. And everybody thinks that he's different and, like, not normal. Like, even when the little girl, this snot-nosed,
his cousin,
little girl,
evil cousin,
evil friggin' cousin.
We've all had those evil cousins. To be fair, he did not punch her.
No, he just pushed her and she
Out
landed
of a
on her
treehouse.
nose.
Out of a treehouse onto her nose.
Justified. Like, she was drilling into him, like, you know, all the other kids have dads. You don't have a dad. Your dad was lucky to die because then he wouldn't have to deal with you. Oh, man. And
but it was very telling that they both had a culmination of their arcs, like, separately.
They were both facing the same demon, just
and
in
they
a
both defeated
different
him
way.
separately.
Separately, yeah.
And Sam defeated him like a child, basically.
And
Amelia
Amelia
the mom defeated him like an adult.
Like an adult, like in his biggest, scariest final form. Just this unveiling of two dark,
huge,
winged
ugly
arms,
looking,
and just into a void of blackness and despair and just, oh. This movie is nothing if not metaphorical in a lot of ways. All of the metaphor, all of the symbolism, and
it's very symbolic that the Babadook does not die and she doesn't kill it, because you never get rid of grief.
Get rid of him.
You can only
cope,
pacify it, basically, like turn him into something that no longer causes harm.
Like turn it into something that no longer causes harm and feed it when it needs it. I think that was what was being said when they were giving him the earthworms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, feed it the filth that you need to in order to, you know, like, let it be scary for that moment, but live your life.
Allow yourself
to feel it
pass.
And pass and say to yourself, it's all right. It's gonna be okay. So in a lot of, like, it was metaphorical, but I think for a lot of people facing depression and anxiety and just all the things that are basically discussed in the movie, that this is an incredibly cathartic film.
Yes. Very cathartic.
It's easy to deal with your inner demons when they are just externalized like that, but yeah. When you get to the point of choking puppies.
Also, warning, dog danger.
Yeah, trigger warning, animal killing.
How did the scares work for you, and were you scared?
if the point of horror is to bring forward certain societal taboos and fears and present them in a way that's not only relatable but ways that are familiar, then absolutely this movie rocked me to my core. Like, to the point where I'm about to say this is one of my new favorite movies of all time. Woo,
But were you scared? Like, at the craft of the film?
it was really more unnerving and disturbing than it was
That's very true.
scary. Like, it's not scary in the sense, like, scary. It was more just, like, the atmosphere that it built and the dread that continued throughout that I felt.
Which is why it's one of my favorite styles of horror movie.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Do we really know what we're getting into with this? Because if... I know this is tame by comparison to some of the movies out there.
But
can we psychologically handle them?
I think if we space them out enough.
Can I just watch Friday the 13th or something?
There are plenty of those. We'll have plenty of time. It's not going to be this every time.
I know. I know. Like, eventually we're going to get around to the other franchises. We have plans for the franchises. And when I say the franchises, I mean like Freddy, Jason, Michael, all those. And of course, auteurs. But, I mean, that's what you're going to expect on this channel now.
Yay!
So, what did Haley draw today?
I drew a little witch. I'll clean up a finished version so you can
Okay.
see it. What do you think?
Yeah, so far it's good. I'm sure the final product will be good, right? Future me? Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
So I have three choices.
All right, we're gonna put this to a vote. We're gonna do a new.
Put this to a vote.
Okay. Do you want to present the votes?
Yes.
Okay.
Vote number 1 is a classic.
Produced and directed by William Castle, and I think it is in the public domain,
Starring
so we can.
Vincent Price, House on Haunted Hill.
House on Haunted Hill, the very famous skeleton feature where the skeleton pushes the girl into a vat of acid. My father said he could not finish this film.
Out of fear?
Out of fear.
Wow. Have you seen this?
I've seen the end.
Have you seen it?
Not really.
Alright. Good. Because that's a requirement. One of us has to have not seen it before. This, I figure, is an underrated horror film, and one of my favorites, 1408.
Starring John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson.
And
They
then...
haven't been in a movie together, have they? I feel like they have. Oh, it's based on a Stephen King.
Mm-hmm. Based on a Stephen King short. And then, last but certainly not least.
I know you don't like zombies, but this one...
This is different.
It's different.
It's different, okay?
Okay.
Let's start it out right.
This is my boomstick! He doesn't say that in this one. But anyway, Evil Dead. So, again,
Right.
here are your choices. They're going to be on screen right there.
Pick on which one you think we should do next. And don't forget to subscribe
Yeah,
to this new
subscribe
shiny
by clicking our
channel that
faces.
we need subscribers to this new shiny channel.
Um,
And donate to the Patreon.
we got a Patreon down
to
that
help
way.
us do all sorts of amazing things with Monster Vlogs this season.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, if you want to see the other Universal Monster movie vlogs, we got the playlist button right there. It'll also be in the description, along with everybody who's donated. Thank you very much. Babadook. What?
Yes, very good. Don't forget to vote on the next one. For this one.
That one. I'm not gonna sleep tonight. Don't we still have to do this one?